Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the ZAA Global Virtual Summit 2020. I can see people coming in. Welcome. Get everyone to come through. We've had the first session. It's been amazing. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Thank you to all the panelists, and a special big thank you to World Remit, our sponsor, for making all this happen. We're very excited to get this opportunity to talk to amazing Zimbabweans doing great things all over the world, and having them sit down together, just as we would have if we had a chance to sit together at the dinner table. We are live on ZAA Facebook page, on Zimbo Live, on YouTube. Follow the conversation on Twitter, hashtag ZAA Summit. I'm going to just bring in the chairman for Zim Achievers, Mr. Conrad Mwanza, to just kind of give a few remarks before we get into our next session, the youth session. We'll get to hear from some of the most amazing people, some of the most amazing youth, Zimbabwean youth who are here to share their perspective on how the youth can take part or play a part in building the nation. So I'm just going to hand over to Mr. Mwanza, just for a few remarks, then we can get onto it. Mr. Mwanza, good afternoon.
Thank you, Tatenda. Thank you for having me. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We've had a great first session with the business and leadership, and I want to again thank the panelists who took time out of their busy schedule to impact some of the wisdom that they have and some of the knowledge that they have. So I want to thank all the panelists, and I want to thank those who tuned in on the first session. I think it was very engaging. I think it was quite informative. And also, again, please do take part. Please do send questions. Please request, even if you want to come on the session. I think Tatenda can facilitate where you could also, if you have a burning question, you can come in live. But we've got an exciting session, something that I'm passionate about as a Zimbabwean, something that I'm passionate about is future leaders. Are we grooming the future leaders today? What are we doing about that? And today is an exciting panelist. And the good thing about this is that we can connect with everybody from around the world, all corners of the world. I'm in South Africa, and I think Dr. Tabo is in Canada, and Kiset is probably in the US, or it could be Tanya, could be in Rwanda, for all we know. But what it is that we are connected as Zimbabweans, and wherever we are, whether we in any part of the world, we are still Zimbabwean. That's our shared common denominator, and hence, even on this session, we try not to politicize, and that's why for us, which political party doesn't matter, which religion you are doesn't matter. What matters is that you are Zimbabwean first. So that's what this summit is about. How can we, as Zimbabweans, young and old, contribute to nation building? And without politicizing everything else, we know we live in a polarized nation, but I feel we can break that barrier and contribute as individuals, as organizations in nation building. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the second session of the ZAA Global Summit. And I want to particularly thank our sponsors for coming on board, World Remit for continuing to support community initiatives. I also want to thank High Amount, Could Be Business Support, Fine and Country for coming on board as well and being our partners. And special mention again to all our panelists. You guys, I know you are very, very busy, but you took time to be with us today. So I applaud you. Thank you very much. And okay, again, to the CMG team. You guys, most of the CMG team is based in Zimbabwe. What an amazing job putting this together. Sleepless nights, engaging with people from different time zones. We thank you. All the CMG team from around the world. Thank you so much for your contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, I won't take much of your time. Please do engage. If you're on Twitter, hashtag ZAA Summit, and let's engage, let's talk, let's build our country. It's, I always say, if not now, then when? If not us, then who? There is no one who's going to come and develop the country for us. There's no one who's going to come and build the country for us. You as a Zimbabwean has a right to develop your country. And you as a fellow countryman also can contribute. There is no contribution that's too small or too big. So please, let's contribute to nation building. Let's break the barrier of polarization. We are Zimbabweans first. I'm excited to hear the future leaders, to hear the youth on how we can contribute to nation builders. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us, and over to you, Tatenda.
Thank you, Conrad. So for now, I think without delaying any further, I would love to hear from the panelists. I'm going to bring in the moderator for the youth session. Her name is Duduzile Matema. Duduzile is a journalist, a writer, voiceover artist, a project manager. She's just a wealth of knowledge, but she's the one who's going to be directing the conversation and in this session. Hi, Duduzile.
Hi, Tatenda. How are you?
Good afternoon. You ready? Let's do this.
Yes.
All right, I'm just gonna leave Duduzile. Great. I'm gonna leave Duduzile to take over and run the youth session. I am very excited to hear from our panelists. I am interested to know what people are getting up to. People my age, clearly, and I promise I won't feel judged if you come through and you're doing way better than I am. All right, thank you, Duduzile. I'm going to leave this over to you.
Thank you very much, Tatenda. It's actually an honor to actually moderate the session of the ZAA Global Virtual Summit. It is an exciting opportunity for me. And it is something that I really hope to learn a lot from, especially with the panelists that we're looking forward to be listening to. There's such a wealth of knowledge. The people that are going to be interacting with us, there's such a wealth of knowledge. And I'm really excited about the panelists. Before we kickstart the discussion, I'd like to thank our sponsors for today's event, the two-day event that's supposed to be running between today and tomorrow. And I'd like to thank World Remit. I will thank as well Kudu Business Support, High Mount Construction, Fine and Country. I'm very grateful. We're very grateful as ZAA for the support that you continue giving the organization. And please be advised that we are live on Zim Achievers Awards. That is on Facebook. We are live on Zimba Live. That is on Facebook. And we're also live on YouTube. So in case you want to catch the discussion, be sure to tune in on Facebook, on YouTube as well. So in case maybe you also want to be following the conversation on Twitter, you can catch it on hashtag ZAA Summit. So that's how you can actually follow the conversation on Twitter. So as you know, we are having a discussion on the role of the youth in nation building. So before I can actually introduce the panelists that we're having today, I'd like to introduce myself so that you can actually know who is going to be moderating this session. And my name is Duduzile Matema. And as Tatenda has already said, I'm a journalist, I'm a writer, and I'm an aspiring project manager. That is who I am. So today I'm joined by 4 phenomenal leaders who are doing a lot in the community to actually empower the community, to actually ensure that they also contribute, they play a part in what we refer to as nation building. So I'm really excited by the fact that I'm joined by this panelist that's supposed to be popping up anytime soon. As I've said, I'm joined by 4 panelists. So I will just do a quick rundown of who they are before they can actually join us. All right, as I've already said that we're going to be joined by 4 panelists, 4 amazing young people who are doing a lot in their communities, who are doing so much in terms of actually building capacities of young people, in terms of actually inspiring young people, in ensuring that they're also playing a role in building the nation. So I'll just go real quick on a profile. On one of our panelists who's going to be joining us today. So the panelist who's going to be joining us is inspired to find solutions to the social problems faced in her country. She has also been involved in charitable work from a young age. She was recently a finalist of the HALT Prize Challenge, a startup accelerator for young social entrepreneurs from universities across the world, held in partnership with the Clinton Global Initiative. As a result of the competition, she is now a co-founder of an early childhood education startup. She served on the youth board of Africa Taikan, where she was awarded for creating the most impact during her tenure. Since 2005, she has been working at Higher Life Foundation, founded by Strive and Titi Masiwa. She is also the creator and editor of the Yearbook, a publication that documents the impact of philanthropic efforts in Zimbabwe. She is currently a fellow at UNICEF and works on special projects in the Executive Chair's office at High Life Foundation. And this panelist is none other than Elizabeth Tanya Masiwa.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm always excited to participate in anything African, what more something Zimbabwean. So thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us, Tanya. And I'm not only with Tanya, as I already said, that I'm going to be joined by 4 phenomenal leaders who are doing so much in the community to make it a point that they actually bring a change in the community. I'm also joined by a motivational speaker, a coach, a millennial mentor. This particular motivational speaker is using her story as inspiration for audience members to live out their greatest passions, regardless of their circumstances. Her compelling journey granted her the opportunity to meet Oprah Winfrey, in which that actually skyrocketed her ideas into a broader vision. Our particular speaker that we have here also inspires through conversations of resilience, overcoming adversity, and keeping faith in yourself. This particular speaker that I'm yet to introduce is also an inspirational TEDx speaker. She's a coach and she's a millennial mentor. As I already said, that she managed to meet up with the media mogul, Oprah Winfrey, and she recently shared her life journey on the TEDx platform and at United Nations Women event. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome to the stage, or rather help me welcome to our youth discussion, Dr. Notabo Ncube. Welcome, Dr. Notabo.
Having me and for the humbling introduction.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Tabo. And I will go on to read the profile for our third panelist, who is currently the 75th JCI president and was elected and inaugurated as the 2020 JCI president during the 2019 JCI World Congress in Tallinn, Estonia. This particular panelist was born 37 years ago in Gweru, Zimbabwe, and is currently running as the JCI president. And this particular panelist joined Harare JCI Zimbabwe in 2004. Our particular speaker served on the local board and as JCI Harare local president in 2006. And from 2008, he served on the JCI Zimbabwe National Board in various capacities, eventually becoming the 2014 JCI Zimbabwe National President. At the international level, JCI President, who I am yet to mention, served as the 2015 JCI Vice President for Africa and the Middle East, and was later appointed to the 2016 JCI Skills Development Committee. In 2017, this particular speaker also was part of the JCI Growth and Development Committee for Africa and the Middle East, and elected the 2018 JCI Executive Vice President for Africa and the Middle East. Currently, our speaker serves as the Chief Executive Assistant to the 2019 JCI President. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome none other than Itai Manyere. Itai Manyere, although he's in absentia, he is yet to join us in a couple of minutes, but at the present moment, he is not with us, but he'll be joining us very soon, so be patient and make sure you do not move an inch, because what he has to share with us is just out of this world, is very educational and very inspirational as a whole. And I will move on to our next speaker, who I'm going to introduce, who is also going to be joining us in today's conversation. Just hang in a bit as I look towards introducing our speaker in a bit. I'm joined by the Cairo Sports founder, who actually founded the organization in 2011. During the time at Cairo Sports, the organization has put together high-profile fixtures involving Super Rugby franchises, Vodacom Bulls, Toyota Cheetahs, DHL Stormers, Emirates Lions, Cairo Sports owned international side Zambezi Steelers. In 2020, Cairo Sports facilitated arguably Major League Rugby's biggest signing when World Cup winner Beast Mtawarira penned a deal with Washington, D.C.'s expansion team, Old Glory DC. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome none other than Kizet Chirengende. Am I right?
Yeah,
did I get it right, sir?
Yeah, you did.
All right.
Thanks
Thank you very much.
Me, and, yeah, pretty excited to contribute.
Wow, thank you very much for actually to join us for today's discussion. So as I already said earlier on, that today's discussion evolves around the role that youth can play in nation building. So this is how we're going to structure our discussion. So what we're going to do here is to try and start out with the introductions, because already I've introduced you, but I'm sure you might also want to introduce yourselves in a way that's rather different from the manner in which I've already introduced you guys, or rather my fellow leaders, because the moment I start saying guys, it makes it appear as if maybe I do not even respect you. So it will depend on how you would want to introduce yourselves. So if you want to introduce yourselves, you can go ahead. And then as soon as we're done with the introductions from your end, we then move on to the gist of the matter, in which we are just trying to understand the current state of affairs of youth engagement from relevant authorities in regards to empowerment and nation building. So you can just introduce yourselves. As soon as you're done, you can just start the discussion. So we can start with the ladies. So I'll start with Elizabeth. Tanya, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. So my name is Tanya. You know, as Zimbabweans, we like to be called by our shorter names. My name is Tanya Radzwa, but my first name is Elizabeth. I'm currently Executive Director at Delta Philanthropies, and I lead the education portfolio at Higher Life Foundation. I'm also a non-executive director at Cassava Smart Tech, which is the company that houses EcoCash and some of the other smart technologies that were first born out of Econet Wireless. So I'm the first daughter of Strive and Tsitsi Masiwa, and my father is one of the most successful Black African entrepreneurs recognized in the world. And so under the circumstances that Econet was birthed, I grew up in the diaspora, but have always had this love for my country, Zimbabwe. And so, and also just seeing the passion that my mom had to uplift people out of poverty. So when I graduated my master's degree, decided to just put my career on pause and commit my career and my life to helping young people in Zimbabwe realize their potential. So that is what I do. And it's such an honor to be sitting here with the other panelists. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tanya, for that introduction. Thank you very much. And I'll move on to Dr. Thabo. Can you briefly introduce yourself so that we can just go ahead with the discussion? Thank you.
Busily once again for the introduction. My name is Dr. Nothabo Ncube, and I'm a medical doctor by profession and an inspirational speaker, a coach to women and a mentor to young girls, particularly girls who are based in the continent. it is my passion to help raise the next generation of African female leaders. I believe that I'm called for such a time to be a voice of hope, of inspiration, of motivation. My intention when I share my story is to remind everybody who's listening that we all have the power within us to transcend our circumstances and create from a true, authentic place who we're called to be. That's me in short.
All right, a warm welcome to you, Dr. Thabo. Thank you for that introduction as well. And I move on to Sir, Mr. Kizet, over to you.
So hi, my name is Kiset Chirengende. I'm the founder of Cairo Sports, as Duduzila mentioned. Pretty passionate about sport and using it as a tool for social inclusion initiatives, something we've been very big on in Zimbabwe over the last few years. Just like the panelists on with me, I have a deep love for Zimbabwe. I think it's something that's ingrained in us as Zimbabweans. We love our country, and even though we tend to leave and go offshore and do other things, we always gravitate towards them. So it's a special place for me. I'm also the founder of AdStart, a sports analytics application that's launching next month, and it's also geared at providing opportunities for youth. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's me. I'm an all-around sports guy. That's what I'm known for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kiset, for that profound introduction. And to start today's discussion, I'll start with you, Mr. Kiset. The discussion, as I already said earlier on, that it evolves around the role that youth can play in nation building. So I'd like to understand that. What is the current state of affairs of youth engagement from relevant authorities regarding to empowerment and nation building, in your view, sir?
I think, over the last few years, there's been a lot of policy framed, or a lot of policy focused on the youth. But it's fair to say that there's been a lot of challenges in attaining or achieving the deliverables for that. Around 7% of the youth is employed in Zimbabwe, which is a very paltry number of people in our youth. And so a lot needs to be done in terms of bridging the initiatives that are put forth, the policies, and actually achieving them and making sure that the deliverables are met. But also, it's also incumbent upon us as youth to tap into those opportunities and make sure that we actually utilize them and take advantage of whatever opportunities we get and action them up. For example, if I recall, there was a youth development fund that was put through by CABS, and it was suspended in about 2014 because of a high default rate by the youths. Some of it, there's a plethora of reasons why that was. Some of it is because maybe the youths weren't prepared for, they weren't educated enough on how to utilize the funds that they were given, or there was just a lack of responsibility on us as youth. So I think it goes both ways. When the authorities formulate policy, we also have to take responsibility and action out and make sure that we meet our end of the bargain. So the youth they're important in the nation building topic or conversation, but it requires a lot of goodwill, a lot of input and positive contributions from both parties. That's what I would say.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Kisa, for that. From what you just said, I'm actually picking that you're talking about opportunities that are created for young people, and the fact that young people need to be very clever about taking up all those opportunities that are brought to them instead of just sitting idle and just complaining about policies that are there, or rather, if policies that are there, youths also need to be responsible in a way to ensure that those opportunities that would have been created for them are actually met. So thank you very much, Mr. Kisat, for that. So moving on to Dr. Thabo, my question goes on to understand, in your view, how does one become a nation builder? So in responding, maybe can you also try and link it with your work so that maybe you can help our audience out there to understand what it is that you do and how it can actually be used as an example of a young person who is a nation builder?
Right. I think for me, what I would say is the most important thing is to figure out who you are, what your gifts are, what your purpose is, what your vision is. And then from there, you align yourself with the opportunities that serve that vision so that way you can bring that vision to life. And one of the things that I would say, particularly to youth, is that when you have a goal, when you have a vision, the nature of life is that it is going to throw at you certain life circumstances and different life curveballs. And even during those times, it is your mandate to trust life's motions and to understand that through the gift of your circumstances, through your pain, through your struggles, you are able to you're going to be able to overcome the struggles as long as there's a vision and a purpose in you. And I'll connect this to my own personal story of having lost my dear mother when I was 14 in Zimbabwe before I moved to Canada. When my mother passed away, I made a promise to her to become a doctor. Those were my last words to her at that time of pain. And moving to Canada went through so many different circumstances, being exposed to poverty, but still finding my way and managing to secure um, a full ride scholarship into McMaster University, and then from there applied to Windsor University of School of Medicine for medicine. And then that was at the point when I received an opportunity to be a part of Oprah Winfrey's live class on You Become What You Believe. For me, I would say the gift of my journey has been that it led me on a path that I didn't imagine for myself, which was a path of me coming to recognize that I am called to empower and to inspire, particularly youth, but just humanity in general. So what I would say is, to be a nation builder, you need to have a vision, and you have to understand that the unfolding of it may come with different circumstances, but when you believe in yourself and in the power of your purpose, in the power of your gifts, the universe has no choice but to get off the way so that way you can support it. And you have to understand that the unfolding. And then the other thing that I want to mention as well is that for me as a nation builder as well, I started as the mentorship group, which was in 2017, which gears towards raising the next generation of young female leaders. And at the time that I started, I just had a vision. I didn't know how it was going to come into full manifestation, but with belief in myself, holding on to it and being in a position where I was willing to go an extra mile so that way I could attain the dream, so that way I could bring that vision to life. Everything now is, graciously flowing. But what I would say for sure is that you need to be strong. You need to believe in yourself as youth, and to understand that at some different defining moments in your journey, life is going to throw at you different curveballs, and you just have to fight on.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Dr. Thabo. From what you just said there, I'm picking that as a young person, in order for you to actually be characterized as a nation builder, you need to have a vision of your own. You need to have a vision that will help you, that will guide you to actually reach the goals that you have as a young person. And I'm also seeing that you speak about having self-belief as a young person. And I'm really grateful that you actually shared with us briefly the story of that actually motivated you to become the person that you are today. And thank you very much for sharing that story with us. And I'll move on to Tanya. And my question to you, Tanya, is on my question is mainly to find out an assessment of some sorts, whether there's hope towards turning the tables in nation building when we're actually looking at a time when the globe is faced with a pandemic such as COVID-19.
Thank you. I think just to start off, I could not agree more with what Dr. Notabo said, and I absolutely admire your story. And I think that if there were a lot more of us who were empowered to be able to overcome some of these barriers, that is the first step towards nation building. Is there a hope? Absolutely. I think when we started Delta Philanthropies, we looked at what will it take for Zimbabwe to become an upper middle income economy. We were intentional about it. And so we worked with this amazing world-renowned think tank based here in London. And they helped us do a study of what were the key areas where Zimbabwe needed investment for us to be able to come out of the state that we're in and be the Zimbabwe that we want to see. And so at Delta, we intentionally invest in certain areas because we know that that's what it's going to take. And one of those areas are us, the youth, Zimbabwe's human capital. And it's the country's biggest asset. And I know that in Zimbabwe, there are so many incredible young people. I'm co-founder of the Star Leadership Academy, where we headhunt the brightest O-level students in the country, and they spend a year with us, and then we put them into great schools afterwards. And these students are absolutely incredible. The things that they understand are things that I have met 40, 50-year-olds that don't understand. And so when I look at the kind of young people that we have in our nation, you can't but be hopeful. But I just want to dial it back a little bit and emphasize the point that our previous speaker made. For us to be able to build our nation, it takes a collective of individuals. And I really believe that as young people, the first thing that is important is for us to have a common vision. We have to sit around the table and actually intentionally believe for ourselves what it means to be a young Zimbabwean and what it is that we're striving for. We have to have a common vision, a common message. There has to be something that we are all together striving for. So I think that being a visionary is extremely important. And as young people, I think it will be a much more powerful force if we work together to know what we want to become as a nation. And that being said, I think the second thing is being investing in yourself. I think that we have so many powerful people who are artists, who are entrepreneurs and the like. And together, I think that that is where nation building begins. But let's dial it back and remind ourselves. Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook when he was in his early 20s. Steve Jobs was 21 when he started Apple. Richard Branson, 23 when he started Virgin. The founder of Under Armour, the sports brand, 24. The founder of eBay was 28. Okay, youth doesn't mean I'm waiting to fulfill some kind of dream later on. Youth means you're starting today. It's merely a definition of the age bracket that I'm in, but the world's biggest innovators, when we look at the biggest companies in the world, yes, their founders are 50 now, but when they started, they were in their early 20s. So as young people, if we're not doing anything right now with what we have and who we are not doing our nation a good service. So my third thing is start where you are now. We know what the challenges are. I started my first business in Zimbabwe at 23. I know it's not easy, but I think that we need to become a collective community that supports one another. If a movie comes out that is Zimbabwean born, if all of us downloaded Netflix to watch a Zimbabwean movie and watched it enough, guess what? The next time Netflix needs an African movie, they're going to knock on our door. If enough of us download that song by a Zimbabwean, whether we like it or not, whether the genre is something I like or not, if enough of us go on Spotify, on iTunes to download that song, guess what? That artist is going to make more money. The next record label in the United States is going to notice them, etc. So as Zimbabweans, we have a responsibility to support each other. Are you a Zimbabwean with a clothing brand? Let's buy it. Do you sell cakes in London and you're a Zimbabwean company? We need to flood there. The more we do that, the more we stimulate growth in our own economy, the more we open up opportunities, not just for ourselves, but for each other. And that is how we're going to unlock value. There is not enough scholarship money inside Zimbabwe, it's outside. There's not enough investment capital, it's outside. But if we ourselves don't support each other to unlock those opportunities for fellow Zimbabweans, it's not going to happen. And also less of us will have an opportunity to realize our dreams. So I think in summary, what I'm saying is, I think vision important. That is what the previous speaker said. That is what I had written down before this. So it's absolutely amazing that we all agree on that. Number two is ensuring that we become an intentional community together. And number three is ensuring that each and every one of us have a strong conviction about who we are and what we want to do. Let's use our voice on Twitter to talk about the positive things about our nation and not to knock each other down. The last thing I want to mention is, I mean, I live in the diaspora, and sometimes you'll hear, you know, some of us, when you hear Shauna in the grocery store, you're like, shifting, you know, shuffling, I don't want them. We need to become a nation that stands together with a common vision. And if America's top 500 companies could have been built by people in their 20s and 30s, we can't but believe that Zimbabwe in 2050 is going to be something that was built by us today. So that's my answer to your question. Thank you.
Wow, Elizabeth, thank you very much. You could go on for the entire session, actually. Thank you very much for that. Because from what you just said, I'm seeing that you're really doing a lot, especially with Delta Philanthropy, which is actually commendable, and job well done for that. And you actually spoke about the need to have a vision, mainly buttressing on what Dr. Thabo had already said, which is really something that young people also have to try and ensure that they have. And you also spoke about starting where we are as young people. We don't need to actually wait for age to take its toll on us before we can actually start something that will make us proud in the future, but we can actually start now as a matter of urgency, like now. So thank you for that. And you also spoke about the need to actually support each other, because in order for us to grow as a nation, we just have to support each other. And thank you very much, Elizabeth, for that. And I will move on to Mr. Kiset. I have another question for you. Thing that we've noticed as young people is that youth are usually excluded from fundamental processes, be it economically, politically, and socially. In your work, how are youth ensuring they break barriers that stand in their way to contributing towards any form of development?
Sorry, I didn't catch the first part of the question there. You're breaking up.
Okay, I'm saying youth are usually excluded from fundamental processes, be it economically, politically, and socially. So the question is, in your work, sir, how are youth ensuring they break barriers that stand in their way to contribute towards any form of development? Did you get the question, sir? All right.
I did. Thank you for that. I just wanted to maybe start off by piggybacking on something Tanya said about, all the entrepreneurs that she mentioned that have, invented stuff that have dramatically shifted the way we live our lives in terms of, some of the inventions that have come through over the last decade or so. I think us as youth, we can look at it and say, hey, youth need to do this and that, but we also need the elder generation to help the youth sort of transition or to fulfill some of the things that, or to unlock rather some of the potential that we have. I mean, if you look at humanity, most of the technological advancements have happened over the last 10,000 years or so. And that's mainly because before that, the life expectancy was really low, and there was less time to trial and error, and then pass on that information or those discoveries or those findings to the younger generation. But as of now, people are living a little bit longer. So those great entrepreneurs that have done great things have learned from guys that have gone before them, that have tried things and failed, but also pass that knowledge down the line. And I think that has to happen a lot more, especially in our country, Zimbabwe. We have one of our speakers mentioned that our greatest asset is our human resources, our human capital, and most of it is not in Zimbabwe. But those that are outside Zimbabwe that are experiencing, that are working in advanced environments, have a duty to go back to Zim and impact that knowledge and that experience on the youth in Zim. I work a lot in sport, and there's a lot of challenges in terms of just the youth in general. It's hard to keep a youth engaged. So our authorities, our leaders need to find innovative ways to engage youths, involve them in policy making, and involve them in decision making processes, so that they feel ownership of of the process. So once they feel included, and because right now, most of the things, especially in Zimbabwe, a lot of things are considered, this is not for the youth. This is mostly for the older generation, those that went to that fought the war of independence. But there needs to be a shift in that thinking, in involving the youth more, so that they feel part of the decision process. Like I said, there's a lot of barriers, especially in Zimbabwe, in terms of especially in the sector that I'm in. There's not that much funding in sport, and and sport is really key in engaging the youth. In other countries, in first world economies, sport is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and in Zimbabwe, because of the lack of investment in the sector, there's just not that many athletes that are breaking through. I mean, you see the talent. We're not short of any talent. I mean, we've seen a lot of world-class athletes come out of Zimbabwe, whether it's representing other countries or whether they've had to leave Zimbabwe at a young age to go access facilities that can, enhance their performance or, hone their skill. But we need to bring that, because not everybody has the opportunity to leave the country. So we need to bring that, to find ways to bring that home, bring those facilities home, bring that those expertise home, whether it's the sport coaches, whether we have to, reach out to other countries to bring out that, that expertise to Zimbabwe to train up our young people. So yeah, so I think just in summary, I would say that there's a lot of barriers, but they can be overcome. They can be overcome. We've seen it. We've seen a lot of athletes come from nothing, come from from dirt, from obscure situations, and they've met it. So it can be done. We just need to foster more of that.
All right, thank you very much, Kiset, for that insightful contribution, where you're actually talking about the fact that there's hope. In as much as there are barriers, there's hope in the industry. So and we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. And if you want to follow the conversation on Twitter, you can just use the hashtag ZAA Global Summit. So that's how you can actually follow the conversation. And thank you to each and everyone who just took their time from their schedule to join us for today's discussion, where we're just trying to understand the role that young people can play in nation building. And thank you very much to the people who are actually putting in comments on Facebook. We're really grateful for that. Thank you very much. I'm seeing something here from Heather Edna. Thank you very much. You're saying amazing cohort of inspiring leaders. Zimbabwe can only get better and better. And I'm seeing something from Chieza Dzivajuru. Excited, looking forward to the session. And I'm seeing something from Kelly Jaranyama, who is saying, way to go, Miss Tanya. And there's something as well from Christina Gwaze, Powerhouse. And I'm also seeing something from Bimbai T. Tamara, who is also saying exciting session. Charity Mhlanga is saying great to see Tanya on board on a great panel of great young leaders. Thank you very much for that comment. And I'm seeing something as well from Sheila Lina Ziwayo, who is saying dedicating yourself to help young people realize their potential is something that is highly commendable. Thank you very much, Sheila, for that. And I'm seeing a comment from Loris Jimu, who is saying, incredible panel, can't wait to absorb everything. I'm hoping you're absorbing as much as you can, Loris, from wherever you are. And I'm seeing as well, Baktini M. Dube is saying, great panel. And I'm seeing something again from Chieza, who is also saying to be a nation builder, you need to have a vision. And something as well is coming from Sinanziwe Priska, who is saying to build a nation begins with you, knowing yourself and leading your own vision. Nothing comes easy. Trevor Raphael, I'm seeing your comment. You are welcoming Tanya. Thank you very much for that. And it seems one of our top commentators here on Facebook is Chiesa. Thank you very much, Chiesa, for the support. We appreciate it very much. And Pilani Nyatanza is saying youth means you can start now to influence. Thank you very much. Kundai Ziwumbe is saying intentionality is key. Start where you are with what you have. Thank you very much, Kundai. And Trevor Raphael is saying start where you are as well, anchoring on what Elizabeth had already presented to us before Mr. Kizet had actually made his contribution. And thank you, Rimbidzai. You are saying we need to become a collective that supports each other. Thank you very much for that. Solo is also say, okay, thank you very much. You just tagged someone to actually come and join and tune in. Thank you for that. It is really appreciated very much. Pilani Nyatanza goes on to say strong conviction about who we are. Thank you. I'm seeing a lot of comments about supporting each other. Sandra, I'm seeing your comment. Thank you very much. You are talking about supporting one another and having a vision and ambition, which is very important. Thank you very much for that. And I am also seeing another comment here from Vaktini, who is saying young people need to invest in their education, not necessarily formal education, but equip themselves with skills and learning how to create value for other people. And with the internet, it's never been easier. Thank you for that one. Rose Jenna is saying our youth, you are the greatest and prized resource, which is absolutely true. I wouldn't actually take anything away from that statement. And Liz Muringi is actually responding to what Vaktini had said. And Liz responds by saying, this is so true, a holistic approach to education, including skills, academic, sports, and practicals. We need to have youth with a broad scope. Not all will be entrepreneurs, not all will be formally employed, etc. Thank you very much for highlighting that. I'll be crossing over to Tatenda for a short commercial break. Tatenda, over to you. welcome back to ZAA Global Virtual Summit, which is brought to you by World Remit. And World Remit is not the only supporting partner, but we are also joined by Kudu Business Support, a High Mount Construction, Fine and Country. Thank you very much to each and everyone who has taken that time to actually join us for today's discussion, where we are actually having a panel of insightful leaders who are doing so much in their communities to ensure that they can actually play their part in actually contributing towards nation building. So for those who actually want to follow the discussion on Twitter, you can actually use the hashtag ZAA Summit. So ZAA Summit is the hashtag to use if you want to follow the conversation on Twitter. We are live on Zim Achievers Awards on Facebook. We are also live on Zimbo Live on Facebook, as well as on YouTube. So in case you want to follow the discussion, please make it a point that you can tune in on Facebook as well as on YouTube. I'm receiving word that we'll be joined by Itai. Itai should be joining us in a couple of minutes or so. So I'm currently waiting for him to actually join us so that we can have the conversation with him as well, because I had already highlighted that today's conversation is supposed to be with 4 people, not 3 people, but 4 people, as I had already said earlier on. All right, it's in case maybe you didn't catch what Itai does, let me just give you a quick rundown on what Itai stands for and what he does. Itai is serving as the 75th JCI president and was elected and inaugurated as the 2020 JCI president during the 2019 JCI World Congress in Tallinn, Estonia. Itai was born 37 years ago in Gweru, Zimbabwe, and he is currently the JCI president, as I have already mentioned. And Itai joined the JCI Harare, Zimbabwe, in 2004. He served on the local board and as JCI Harare local president in 2006. From 2008, he served on the JCI Zimbabwe National Board in various capacities, eventually becoming the 2014 JCI Zimbabwe National President. At the international level, JCI President Itai Manyere served as the 2015 JCI Vice President for Africa and the Middle East, and was later appointed to the 2016 JCI Skills Development Committee, the 2017 JCI Growth and Development Committee for Africa and the Middle East, and elected the 2018 JCI Executive Vice President for Africa. Itai, are you there?
Oh, yeah, yes, I'm here. Apologies, my connection is a bit bad. I'm currently in transit at the airport. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, sure, we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear, sir. So, as I've already highlighted what you do, can you just briefly introduce yourself? Because at times I would have read your profile, but you would prefer to say it in your own words. And over to you,
Thank
sir.
you very much, Juduzile, and greetings to everyone who's on the call. Itai Manyere is the name, and basically this year I serve as a JCI World President. And as JCI, we are enterprising young leaders, young active citizens who are out to create a positive impact wherever we are. And that really dovetails into the topic of today. We talk about nation building, where we believe that as young people, we've got a critical role in ensuring that we work to find lasting solutions to the various challenges that we face wherever we are. So we carry out different projects with different partners. And this year, I've had the unique opportunity of working with young people across the world as JCI president. Some of the work that we've been doing this year has been to see how best as young people in business, young people who've been affected by COVID-19 in various ways can bounce back post the COVID-19 pandemic through an initiative called the JCI Rise Initiative. That's in a nutshell on what I do and who we are. Sure. And
all right, thank you very much, Sorry, you were saying, sir?
So I'll take any questions from you now. Yeah, I'm just in
All
the
right.
airport
Thank
right
you
now,
very
so.
much. Thank you very much for that introduction and actually highlighting the work that you do. It is such an honor to be in the presence of the JCI World President. It means a lot. Thank you very much, sir, for taking time from your busy schedule to actually join us for today's discussion. I'm really honored. And on behalf of ZAA, I'm really honored and I'm really grateful for that. So to start off today's conversation, as you know, we're just talking about the role that young people can play when it comes to nation building. So before we can actually talk about that, I wouldn't say the serious things, serious side of things, but we can't actually try and sideline the fact that we're in day 2 of the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And with COVID-19, life hasn't been easier, especially for women and girls. Some have been forced to be locked down with their perpetrators. But how can maybe an organization such as GCI play a role in awareness raising on GBV so that youth can actually be active in nation building?
Thank you very much for that. As young people, for starters, we've got a lot of energy. Energy maybe at times which has been used in a not so positive way, and we've got a unique opportunity to ensure that we utilize our energy in a positive light, as it were. Speaking out is the best way out, and actually being ones that can find ourselves actually not necessarily participating in issues of GBV. I was listening to a program yesterday on radio, and someone was crying about how they were abused by their partner, but the partner's day job was actually to work around defending women's rights. So at times it's very baffling. In Zimbabwe, we talk about utinti umfazi, utinti umbogodo. We can't exactly be found being such a violent people. And as young people, we need to add our voice to it. We are on social media platforms. Why not utilize those for positive gain and not necessarily all the other things that we do on Instagram and on Facebook and all those other platforms that we utilize? So we've got a unique opportunity under the sun to add our voice to issues of GBV. To anyone who's listening today, I say raise your voice, because they say evil thrives when good people keep quiet, and we need to make sure that we always have our voice speaking against GBV issues.
Profound. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for that. And I'll move on to another question that is mainly on policies. Like when we're just trying to say youth versus policies that are currently in place, who should be accountable and to whom, and how can we reach a common ground in your own view, sir?
Okay, policy is one thing, and another is just for us as young people to bulldoze through and make sure that we command the space under the sun, for us to participate in dialogue, to find ourselves in the corridors where we normally do not get ourselves, we don't necessarily get access to. There are ways of engagement. Here in Zimbabwe, if it means going to the youth council or related organizations, depending on the sector that you'd like to engage on, be it issues of the rights of the young people, be it the rights of the children, be it issues of commercial gain, like your Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce, and some such associations. Opportunities are there for us to be able to lobby government and decision makers. But what also needs to happen is, it really, policy is one thing. Another is us to have the energy to command the space that we want for us to be heard as a young people. And it's up to us to go out there and look for it. The future, I believe, belongs to us as the young people. When we look at our African countries that had to fight for independence, it meant young people took the mantle and went to war. And probably they were younger than us. So why not us take those decisive positions and make sure that our voices are heard in the right offices and ensure that we lobby for what we need as young people.
All right, thank you for that. I'm just noting that in a nutshell, what you're saying is that youth actually have the energy to actually lobby for the fundamental policies that can work in their favor, right? And I'm really excited by the fact that you actually say that youth actually need to direct that energy in the right places. So thank you for that contribution. And we move to the next question that mainly tries to understand maybe the examples of innovative youth-led initiatives that are there and that we can actually use to assess the frameworks that are used that can be used to support and assist young people in finding their feet in nation building. So maybe can you help us with examples of innovative youth-led initiatives that can help young people to find their way in nation building?
Nothing really that I can think off the top of my head in line with your question, but we've seen a lot of initiatives that young people have been able to come up with across the world, innovating in different spaces, which have even spoken to how businesses are run now. We look at technology, these platforms that we use today, these platforms for engagement, the social media platforms. We look at how lately the world is data driven, and it's all because of innovation by young people across the world. So it goes without saying that young people can do amazing things as long as they put their mind to it, as they put their energies to it, as long as a conducive environment is in place for their ideas to thrive. And as I have said earlier on, we just need to continue to demand and keep searching for platforms and opportunities for us to ensure that our ideas actually see the light of day. Our ideas can speak into nation building. Our ideas can speak into building of economies and some such things. So we do have a critical role to play as young people. And yeah, we can continue to impact wherever we are.
All right. Thank you very much for that one. Maybe it's just a second from the last question that I'm going to want you to respond to. How do you feel role modeling helps in encouraging youths in nation building, in your view, sir?
Okay. People normally would like to learn from examples, and more so when examples are from a people probably they can identify with, people within their space and their reach. So what also then needs to happen is to ensure that we put those people on a pedestal, recognize where good things are done, to showcase to young people, to anyone else, that if it's an innovation, if it's an achievement by a fellow Zimbabwean, in the midst of adversity, in the midst when the script is so negative, as far as our country is concerned, we can showcase that we've got some sprouting individuals who are doing amazing things. And it gives hope to the younger people to show that it can be done, it will be done, and it can be done. What just needs to happen is to have the necessary networks and people continue to pull each other up and ensure that people learn from past experiences. So role modeling is very key, and we need to make sure that we stand up and we blow our trumpets. And I applaud Zim Achievers for doing that, going out, searching for young people, young Zimbabweans across the world who are doing amazing things against all odds. And I believe that when those stories come out, they are out to motivate other young people as far as what capacity we do have as young people.
All right. Thank you very much for that, sir. Just to find out, you told us that you're this JCI World President, which is actually a big role and responsibility that you have. I'd like to find out that how did you actually become the president of such a big role? Maybe can you just take us through that?
Okay. As an organization, we're an organization in over 100 countries. Joined this organization in 2004. Various leadership opportunities are available in the organization. In Zimbabwe, we've got JCI Zimbabwe and local organizations, 3 in Harare, another in Bulawayo, another in Gweru, another in Mutare. And that's how you get into the structures of the organization. And there are different levels of serving in the organization. You read my profile earlier on. And as you saw higher and higher, just putting yourself up to serve in various capacities, people get to see the passion, the drive, the focus, and doors start to open, and you start lobbying, and the next thing, boom, you get to the top. But it's been a long journey since 2004, 16 years on. I'm still a young person, still out to serve my country, still out to serve in this organization and other organizations of like-minded young people, just to make sure that our voices are heard as young people, and we lobby the necessary offices. Opportunities that come out of this are to sit with the powers that be at times and discuss issues that concern us, issues as far as how best we can move things forward wherever we are. And some such things really come in very, very at an advantage, and there is power in association. And it's through such platforms that it's been made possible. And this year, I've had the unique opportunity of lifting the Zimbabwean flag high and being the JCI World President. And I will vacate office 31 December. And I hope when we look back, I would have done the nation proud by flying the flag high. Right now, it's flying at the headquarters in St. Louis, Missouri, just to showcase who is leading the organization in extraordinary times. In a year that was given to us with the virus, but I believe myself and my team have executed of ourselves very well to ensure that the organization continues to move on forward. And it takes passion, it takes drive, it takes initiative, it takes selfless service to be able to rise in such organizations. And I believe it is those same qualities that also work even in business, in civil society, and in government. Your passion, your drive, your focus, just to ensure that as young people, we command our space under the sun. As young people, we keep on thriving to build better communities for our children and future generations that will walk the face of this earth. And that's what has driven me over the years to get to this point. And as long as I still have blood pumping in my veins, I'll continue serving to the best of my ability in the organization, in any capacity that I'm afforded, in any place that I find myself in. I'll ensure that I'll continue to serve. And once again, thank you for this opportunity, and kudos to the team and everyone who's connected today.
Wow, that is amazing. Thank you very much, sir, for that. And I'm actually seeing the 16 years of passion, drive, and initiative that you are speaking about, that in order for you to rise up as a young person, you need passion, you need drive, you need to have initiative. And thank you very much, sir, for actually being the epitome of that, and actually being a motivation to young people out there, because I'm sure there are a lot of people who look up to you, sir, and who really feel that you are doing so much in terms of uplifting our flag. And we're really proud of you, sir, and we're really honored to have you today. And I will just read the comments that we're receiving on Facebook. I'm seeing something here from Jean-Claude. Jean-Claude is saying, very insightful from all panelists. We need to bulldoze into spaces, support each other, and raise our voices, innovate, and change our environments. It's our turn now. Thank you very much for that. And there's a motivation here from Mr. Mugu, who said, "Go, Mr. President. It's for you, Mr. Manyere." And I'm seeing another again from Chia. She is saying, drive, passion, focus, 7 leadership. Thank you very much, Chia, for that. And together, and I say, congratulations, Mr. Manyere. Great achievement to be a president of a global entity. Huge achievement. This one goes out to you. And Jeffrey Mungwe, he says, a truly inspiring journey to the top, Mr. Ntai. Thank you very much, sir, for actually taking time to share this story, because as I am, as a young person who's actually motivating here, I actually feel motivated, and it was actually a challenge for me when I was told that I need to take part and participate in today's discussion. And if you're just tuning into today's dialogue, which is the youth session, which is the second session for today, we are live on Facebook. We are live as well on YouTube. We're live on Zimba Live, Facebook as well. So if you want to follow the conversation on Twitter, you can just use the hashtag ZAA Summit. Hashtag ZAA Summit. That's how you can follow the conversation on Twitter and all other platforms. So as I said, we're live on Zim Achievers Awards Facebook page and Zimbo Live Facebook, as well as on YouTube. So if you want to engage with us, just feel free to actually tune into those channels. So we'll move on with the discussion. So I will direct my next discussion point to Dr. So Dr. Tabo, I'd like to understand on how youth can actually leverage on adversities to their advantage, especially at a time when the world is grappling with COVID-19. Your microphone.
Duduzile, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat your question? Sorry, the phone was breaking.
Oh,
I mean,
all right.
okay.
Yeah,
the line was breaking.
All right. Okay, I was saying, how do youths leverage on adversities to their advantage, especially at a time when the world is grappling with COVID-19?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. I think, first of all, we have to, for me, one thing that I would say to youth is that we have to recognize that COVID in itself is a blessing in disguise. I believe that COVID has given us the time to reflect, to go within ourselves, dig deeper, and unravel who we are. For me, it has been a moment of reflection. I've, due to the circumstances, of course, COVID has forced me to ask myself what my true purpose is, what I'm here to do. And as I've been reflecting on my essence, so many answers have come up. So I would say that it has been the greatest blessing for me because it has given me so much clarity on who I am. And as I continue on my journey, on my path. So I would say to youth who are listening in today, that use your pain, your adversities, these times to channel your strengths. So, obviously noticing how the world is operating now, everything is moving into the digital media space. Always ask yourself the question, how best can I leverage the gifts, the talents that I have, so that way I can serve my community, so that way I can serve my country, so that way I can serve the continent and the world at large. So for me, yes, I would say that it has been such an important time for me, and I would love to think that not only has this been a blessing to me, but it has also been a blessing in disguise for all of us collectively. And I believe that in each and every one of us, there lies that strength to look within ourselves and to use this time to put our energies into the right spaces and to put our energies where we're actually bringing solutions on the table.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tabo, for that one. And I'm seeing that you're saying that in as much as there is COVID-19, it doesn't necessarily mean that we can end our lives and forget about nation building, but we also have a role to play as young people. And I'm really grateful for the contribution that you've just made. And I'll move on to Tanya. Tanya, in closing, what is it that you can say to encourage young people out there who are actually tuning live, who are wondering how Tanya is making it happen wherever she is, how she is actually being a nation builder in wherever she is? So I'd like to understand the last parting shots that you have for us.
Thank you. I think one of the things that I love to tell our students and the people that I engage with is when one of us shines, we all shine. So my biggest parting shot is that as Zimbabweans, first of all, and as young people, let us help each other thrive, because when one of us thrives, we all thrive. And then just in closing, I think that, as young people, let's not wait to be invited to the table. Oftentimes you have to push your way through to find your own opportunities. Again, we know what the challenges are, but I think that let's use each other as a driving force to create opportunities for ourselves. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Tanya, for that. I'm really grateful. Thank you for taking time from your busy schedule to actually join us in today's discussion, where we're just trying to interrogate and understand the role that young people have in actually contributing towards nation building. And thank you once again, Tanya, for that. And I will move on to you, Mr. Kiset. Okay, I'll move on to you, Mr. Kiset. I'd like to understand that as young people, how can young people actually overcome challenges that they may encounter in their journey, maybe in their journey, especially in regarding to today's session where we're just talking about nation building. So how can young people actually overcome the challenges that they face?
I think the main thing is, self-improvement, always willing to learn, always willing to, improve yourself, the things that you know. So study more, research, find out how you can upgrade yourself, how you can upskill yourself. And, as some of the speakers have already alluded to, sometimes there's never going to be a conducive environment for our gifts to flourish. So sometimes we have to be bullish, we have to be forceful. You have to, knock the doors down to just, make sure that your gift manifests and reaches its full potential. And I think if we have that mindset as youths, we can get to where we need to get. It's incumbent upon ourselves to achieve what we need to achieve. It's not someone else's responsibility to do it. It's nice for the authorities. It's nice for our leaders. It's nice for our elders to create that conducive, and they must. But in the absence of that, that doesn't mean that we fold our hands and give up and just abandon ship. We have to be forceful. We have to upskill ourselves. We have to be innovative. Find ways to go around the problem. And it's easier said than done, but it can be done. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kiset, for taking time from your busy schedule. And I'm really grateful. And on behalf of ZAA, we're also very much grateful for having taken time to actually join us in today's youth session, where we just wanted to understand how young people can actually play a role in terms of nation building. And I'll move on to you, Dr. Thabo. Can you just give us your parting shots in terms of maybe recommendations that you have for young people out there?
Right. Thank you so much once again to Tuzile for having me. First, I just want to say to each and every youth that is tuning in today, I just want to say that there is so much potential in you. And you should trust that every gift that you have, if God deposited it in you, it means that God will sustain it. You have to get out of your own way and create that dream and create that vision and bring it to life. The power lies in you. Nobody can do it for you but yourself. And and what was the other last question again?
All right. I said like your parting shots and then maybe the recommendations that you have for young people out there.
Oh, okay, yes. And if it is that you need any help, don't hesitate to reach out to a mentor, seek out opportunities and find the right people who inspire you, who are doing what you want to do. And what I've come to recognize now is that there's so many people who are willing to extend help, especially when somebody is willing to put in the work and when somebody is passionate about the work that they're doing. So there are a lot of leaders out there who are waiting for you. So get out of your own way and reach out to those people, and you'll be surprised at how much you can achieve, especially when you seek out opportunities and you seek out help from those who are in a position to help.
All right, Dr. Tabo, thank you very much for that contribution, which is actually profound. Thank you very much for taking time from your busy schedule to actually join us in today's discussion. I'd also like to thank Mr. Itai Maniere, who also managed to join us a couple of minutes ago to give us a presentation on how young people can actually contribute towards nation building. And I will just read real quick some of the comments that we're having here on Facebook, and then we'll just close the session as I hand it over to Tatenda. So I'm getting something from Messi, who is saying the voice, support, and synergy are key. And Jeffrey, who is saying let's help each other grow. Profound. Miss Tanya, and Chieta is saying, let's not wait to be invited to the table as young people. Let's lift each other up. When one of us shines, we'll all shine. This one was said by Miss Tanya. Thank you very much for that one, Chieta. And Rose is saying, awesome session. Look up Zimbabwe. The future is bright. Thank you very much for that one, Rose. And Messi, again, is also saying, when one shines, we all shine together. Thank you so much, Miss Tanya. And Jeffrey Murungweni says, great to see a fellow watershed. Thank you, Mr. Kiset. And Chiesa is saying, thank you, is actually extending gratitude to Zimbabwe Achievers Awards for an amazing session. Awesome panelists, the future is bright. I would like to extend my gratitude to each and every panelist who is here. Mr. Kiset, thank you very much for your time, sir.
Guys were great.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Have a pleasant day, sir.
You too. Thank you.
All right. And I move on to Dr. Tabo. Thank you very much, Dr. Tabo, for joining us in today's discussion.
Thank you for having me.
And I move on to Elizabeth Tanya. Thank you very much, ma'am, for having time, for spending time with us today and sharing so much insight on youth leadership. Thank you, ma'am. All right, you were tuned to the youth session, which was the second session of the day of the Zimbabwe Achievers Awards Global Virtual Summit. And it's a 2-day session that is running through. It started today and it's ending tomorrow. So be sure to tune in to the exciting events that will be there. So in case maybe you want to join the discussions that will be taking place, make sure you tune in to Zimbo Live on Facebook. You tune in to Zimbabwe Achievers Awards on Facebook. Also, you can tune into YouTube. And as well, if you want to follow the discussion probably on Twitter, you can make it a point that you use the hashtag ZAA Summit. That way you can actually follow the conversation on Twitter and all other platforms. So make it a point that you can actually join us throughout the discussion. And I would like to also extend gratitude to our sponsors, which happen to be World Remit, Kudu Business Support, High Mount Construction, Fine and Country. And I hand over to Tatenda. Thank you very much.
I think you guys are all doing an amazing job. All the speakers today. I'm glad that you managed to come through, because I do feel like there was a lot of engagement from other youth, and it's so inspiring to see other youth talking to their peers and actually sharing tips and wealths of knowledge, so that we can actually try to rebuild our country and take it in a positive direction. At this point, thank you so much, Duduzile, for facilitating this. You have been amazing. I would like to then just close off by thanking our sponsors, World Remit, Fine and Country, Kudu Business Support. Thank you so much for making all this possible. We are highly indebted to all our panelists. Thank you for coming through. Thank you, Tai, managing to sign in from the airport. Thank you for Dr. Notabo. Amazing work you're doing over there. Tanya Masiwa, phenomenal. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you so very much, Cassette. You are doing an amazing job, and forward to see what guys have to offer in the future. So coming next, we're going to have a session at 3 on entrepreneurship and innovation. That is definitely one that you don't want to miss. We're going to be talking to inventor Will Sachiti. He's going to be talking about, you know, what he's been working on with the driverless car in the UK. We're also going to be talking to an inventor in South Africa, someone who's actually creating our own brand of car. So now we don't have to go and yell at Honda Fit or Rolls Royce. We've got our own make, so we should all be buying that. But anyway, that is coming up in the next session, and I hope you get to join and we continue with the conversations. Thank you so much for tuning in. Follow the conversation using the hashtag ZAA on Twitter. Follow on Facebook, ZAA for live, and also on Zimba Live. All right, so catch you on the next session at 3 p.m. Have a good one.